Hey guys, Cam Mayville here of Rug Wash Pros. Yes, it's the home of Rug Rescue, the new podcast that everybody's talking about. We're having a blast with this. My sidekick Paul Lucas won't be on today because I've got a special guest, the Hitman himself, Mr. John Braun. How you doing, John?
Great, Cam. Thanks for having me on. We're going to talk about some pretty interesting stuff that we were talking about a couple of days ago. Decided to do a podcast quickly about it. Good stuff.
Absolutely. I thought it was a good subject. We've talked about Google AdWords before. You, of course, are in the Rug Room. You've been on the Rug Room Live a number of times, and we always love to get into the world of Google AdWords. And by the way, everyone, please hit that subscribe button and that like button. We really appreciate it. Helps us out a lot. And tell your friends about us too. We need it. So, but yeah, John, this is really a great thing for a lot of cleaners if they understand it.
Yep.
And there's some who just don't. And that's where you come in and some others come in that are really good and have dialed into getting better results and understanding the results. And that's something you're very good at. But one of the questions when it came up I think it may have been in another group, I thought of a question I don't really hear that often. And it was basically just, hey, if you're coming up organically, number one, almost every single time you're right there, do you really even need Google AdWords? Right. And I think you would say, absolutely, you still do. There's still benefits. I want to talk about that. So let's start there. What do you think? When I put that question out there, what do you think?
Well, absolutely. And the question that I pose to you is, do you want to show up once in the search engine, twice, 3, 4, 5 times, right? The interesting thing, after we talked, I actually shot a video for my members, and I coincidentally went to Carpet Cleaning Denver, and it's probably still there if anybody wants to Google it. And Zero Res, a company that we've all heard of, national, very successful franchise. Do you know what they have done in Carpet Cleaning Denver for that keyword? They have a Google guaranteed ad. They have a Google ad. They have a Google Map ad. They have a Google Map listing that's free, and they show up #1 in Google 5 times. How likely is that company for a huge search like Carpet Cleaning Denver to get almost all, maybe, I don't know, half the calls, let's say, of the people that are searching for Carpet Cleaning Denver? I would say pretty likely, unless it was a company that happened to use them, or a client that happened to use them and didn't like them for some reason. I think there's a really good chance somebody Googling Carpet Cleaning Denver would click and use Zero Res because, hey, you're all over the place. Right, back in my heyday in my cleaning company, organically without even paying for it, I would show up 4 or 5 times on the top of Google. And, right. And I remember a couple of clients calling me and just going, "Well, geez, John, I don't really have any choice but to use you because you're the only real choice when I Google carpet cleaning, in Pensacola, So it's got a lot of merit. And the other thing that you got to think about, like for rug cleaning, what is your average job ticket, if you don't mind me asking, for rugs?
Average right now is probably about $280.
Okay, so for $280, maybe you're showing up organically and you're showing up there for free, but wouldn't you want a second chance to get that client and spend $7 or $8 on a click? Absolutely. For $280. And here's the other thing, the opportunity cost. If you're not there, your competitor might be, and they might get the click instead of you. That cost can be huge too. So the real question with that too is, how big is your brand? Are you really well known? I mean, Zero Res is, right? In Denver, obviously, right? Maybe even in your area too. I don't know. But yeah. Right. But the point is, how do you really take that market share? By doing stuff like that. Zero Res took it to the bank. Right. So why not spend another $7? And they might not even click that ad. They might just look at your organic ad or your Maps listing anyway. But the fact that you took up that real estate might have given them a second impression or a third impression, depending on how many times that you showed up. And then they thought, wow, this company must be good. They're all over the place. Right. So.
No, absolutely. I mean, that makes sense to me. And I always think about that too, is, I'm going, if I'm not up there, I don't want my competition to get the darn job.
Right.
Especially in the world of rug cleaning, because frankly, a lot of people don't know where to go. So when they find someone, then they're going to tell their neighbors, they're going to tell their sisters and their brothers and their moms and dads and all these other people about it.
Right.
So how many jobs do you lose just because you didn't do that one Google AdWord?
Exactly.
You could lose a lot.
Exactly.
So I'm glad you answered that. And when we talked the other day, when you said what you said right away, I went, yep, he's right. Absolutely. 110% makes total sense. So let's take a few minutes. I want to talk about tracking. Everybody talks about this. I've always found, in my opinion, that Google AdWords is a little difficult to track,
It
even
is.
with the landing page, even with a separate number. I believe when you track it, and even if you've done a good job of it, you're really not 100% tracking it. It's just, in my opinion, just no way to do it 100%. You agree with that, or am I wrong?
I do. I do. I mean, just in a nutshell, so everybody knows, I mean, how do you track it? One, you have to have a separate landing page. You can't have them land on the same rug cleaning page or whatever service page that you normally have linked from your homepage, because then that might be organic traffic. So it's got to be somewhere else that's not linked to their homepage. Then you have to have a separate dedicated phone number, right? Twilio or some service like that can do that. And you also have to have a separate dedicated form that they fill out. Because if they fill out the form, you might be thinking that, oh, that came from Google Ads, but it might have come from organic. I don't know. And then the other thing that has to happen, so I'm setting this up right now, probably later on today, I'm kind of halfway between setting this up for a client. But then the other thing that we've got the forms, we've got the dedicated phone numbers and all this stuff, but yet in the menu, they could still click and go somewhere else. And then
Right.
still go and call from that other number or fill out one of those other forms because they have access to the menu. So ideally, you really need to not give them access to the menu, which almost I'm concerned about that a little bit for a cleaning company, because if there's no other place for them to go, they're kind of like, well, is this legit? This might just be a lead generation website. People that are web savvy, I would worry about that. Somebody that's not web savvy probably wouldn't.
Right.
I would worry about that and kind of look other places to find that company, even if I was totally intrigued and buying in hook, line, and sinker to their marketing proposition, right? I'd still want to search them somewhere else and probably call them from Google. So is
Right.
it
Right.
totally 100% trackable? No, not at all.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, but you can look at some metrics. I highly at least recommend to do Google Analytics. Maybe if you really want to track it, do get a separate landing page. And you still can do all that stuff, but take it with a grain of salt, because I promise you there's some paid traffic that still converted into what you thought was organic that wasn't.
So let me ask you this, and for full disclosure, for everyone who knows, John, I've worked with John through the years on a variety of things. I work with Mark Kennedy on some things, and both of you guys have been outstanding. And I want to bring that up because so many people out there do not know where to go. Kind of like with websites. You build websites. My buddy Dom builds websites. You guys actually work together on different projects. Dom's worked with Mark Kennedy on projects. And I kind of like that triangle, because I tell people all the time, I said, look, there's very few people I will stand up and recommend. And you, Dom, and Mark, I've always recommended, because frankly, I just think you guys are honest, straightforward. Especially, I mean, I've got to give you props, brother, because you've always been that way from day one. Straightforward, honest, no BS. This is how it is. And if you say you're going to do something, you do it. You've always done that. I want to throw this question to you. When we talk about the analytic part, a lot of people don't know how to do that. They don't even understand the word. I mean, you're talking to Cam Mayville from the South here. Analytic? What that? You know, I don't get it. You know, I mean, now that I've been doing this for years and done it myself, even some, yeah, I'm starting to understand it, but I still have difficult times with that. So who can help with that? Can you have your web guy do it? If someone was having someone take care of Google, can they call you and say, hey, can we look at my analytics and just see if we've seen a bump or what's going on here?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for the props, by the way. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you deserve it.
Yeah. Thank you. And then, but yeah, as far as analytics, keep in mind, you don't have to do analytics. If the idea of analytics and looking at that scares you to death, probably don't do it. My bigger analytics is this. When I talk to one of my clients I'm doing Google Ads for, are you getting business? Right? You spent $1,000. Did you get at least $3,000 in direct business from that ad? Do you know that? So and I know the sticky question about that could be, well, it was organic and what was organic and what wasn't. So a lot of the times too, though, you can kind of tell. So for instance, maybe you're not ranking for rug cleaning at all, but you started a Google ad campaign, and you might be ranking in maps for carpet cleaning, and now you've got, $8,000 in rug business over the last week since you started doing Google ads, or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. You could say that was pretty much all related to the Google ad, right? So some of the times you just have to know where you're ranking, know where you're not ranking, and that's sort of a loose way to do it. The other way to do it is analytics. Your webmaster, if you have a competent webmaster, you can have him set up Google Analytics for you. He may charge you a small fee. I usually have a small fee because it's kind of a pain in the neck, to be honest with you. You have to get a code and put it in, and then you have to go and, but any competent webmaster can do that. You can also go to the little help section and try to get Google to show you where that's at. But then you still have to take the code and put it into the back end of your website. And there's a couple of videos on YouTube that you could probably Google where you could figure out how to do it yourself if you're a little bit web savvy. The hardest part about it is, though, taking that code and finding out where to put it in your website. That's why you probably need your webmaster, but really any halfway competent webmaster knows how to do that or where to put that in.
Awesome. Absolutely. Again, everyone, just so you know, this is the Hitman John Braun. This is the Rug Rescue Podcast. Please hit that subscribe, like button. We would really appreciate that. John, I want to go into another question that I think a lot of people wonder about it. And that is, if I'm not coming up organically that well, and I go, well, you know what? I think I'll pay for Google AdWords because Google go, hey, we love this guy. He's spending $1,000 a month with us. Let's bump him up a little bit organically. Does Google look at it that way, or not?
I mean, there is maybe a little bit of truth or substance to that, but not much, right? So if you are doing other things SEO wise, a good Google ad campaign can help complement that, because now you're getting traffic going. And then, but it doesn't work just because you're doing Google ads, Google's going to rank you. In fact, it's the contrary. They want you to keep spending money with them, right? But the fact that you've got traffic going to your site usually shows Google that you're a site that actually is loved and cherished by somebody, and somebody wants to go there if they're staying there. So here's the other thing too. If you are going to do any SEO or regardless, right, do a small Google ad campaign. You'll know within a week whether your website sells or not, right? Because you have that verified traffic going there. And then, did you book any calls? Well, if you didn't, there's an issue. You might want to look at the analytics too and see if you're running analytics, which you really should, and see, are people staying on the site for 2 seconds or 20 seconds on average? Or you probably want at least 30, 45 seconds on average for a cleaning site. Of course, some people are going to get on and bounce right away, but I was
going to ask you that, as a matter of fact. That's one of the questions I wanted to throw in is, what is that average time? I mean, if we see someone there for 20 seconds and they're gone, that's not too good, is it?
It's not great. No, I mean, it's not terrible. It's not absolutely awful. You want to be looking for at least 40 seconds, 45 seconds, because keep in mind, some people found you on the wrong way, and but some people too might only stay for 45 seconds, but still yet call you, right? But that's an average. That also goes with the people who might stay there for 8 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever the case may be.
Right.
So you want to look at all that, because then you want to know right away, if I'm doing SEO for somebody, I don't want to go and spend all sorts of time and money on getting you ranked and then figure out that nobody enjoys your site. Because guess what? Even if you do a bunch of SEO, your site's not going to keep ranking, because Google knows that nobody stays on your website. Your site sucks. Google knows this, right? Even if you're not doing any Google ads, even if, and they're not going to keep your site ranking, even if you're throwing a bunch of links and doing all sorts of the greatest SEO. If people are getting to your site and going, oh, this isn't what I need, and they're bouncing, it hurts you.
You just nailed the number one reason why Google AdWords doesn't work. Every time I've ever had anyone tell me, well, I don't waste money with Google AdWords, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I go, put your website.
Right.
That's what I want. That's where my mind goes right away. Of course, you taught me that years and years ago. And then you go to their website and you're looking at it going, well, no wonder Google AdWords doesn't work.
Exactly.
I'm surprised any of your marketing is working, because all your marketing, I don't care what it is, magazine, you hand a card to somebody, whatever it is. What does so many Americans do? The first thing they do is they grab their phone or get on their laptop and they Google you.
Exactly. Yep.
And you're going to come up. They're going to look at your website and they're going, what? What is this? And I mean, I've seen some sites where it's like that. You look at it, you're just like, wow, this is horrible.
Right.
Or it doesn't load right on your phone, or whatever the case may be. I mean, a variety of things. But that's pretty much the number one reason, ain't it?
Exactly. And the funniest thing too is, it's not always just because people think, well, my website's pretty. but pretty doesn't sell either, right? You have to have the right pictures. Like your website's great. When you're there, it's been a little while since I've glanced at it, but you're there and you're holding rugs, I think, and you're there with your daughter, and people are going, wow, this is the kind of guy that I want to have do my rugs. He looks like he does rugs. He looks like he knows what he's doing. You need to give that impression, like undoubtedly, when people go to your website. And I talked to all these guys too that are like, oh, I don't want to put a picture of me up there. I'm too ugly, or I don't have any hair.
Yeah, yeah. Someone took all my hair. I don't want nobody to see the shine.
So, but the deal is though, they need to know who you are. They're totally interested in who is this person that's going to come pick up my $20,000 Persian rug.
Yep.
Right. And then too, putting your name underneath the picture helps, because they might look you up and kind of do some research on, is this really the owner? Is this a legit company? All of this stuff. Super, super important. So again, it's not just pretty website, and your website shouldn't be ugly. So don't get me wrong, right? It should be pretty on a level, but the goal shouldn't be just pretty and the most beautiful, right? The goal should be pretty on the level of it's not ugly and at least looks aesthetically pleasing. And then bigger thing is pictures. And the other big thing that I always tell people too is up at the top, you want to go ahead and say your city big, because so many times somebody will Google like carpet cleaning Denver and they'll fall on a page and they're going, is this even in Denver? I don't see a phone number anywhere. I don't see an area code. Who are these people? And if they're not convinced quickly that it's really their city, they're going to backspace and you spent $7 on the click.
Yeah, absolutely right. I agree 100%. And yeah, I was just talking with Dom the other day, because we were going over some stuff that we needed to do. And I told him, I said, man, we've got to load up some more videos. And because I haven't been able to do it, because I've been waiting for my shop to be done. Because, you get to a point where you're building something new. You want all your videos to be in the new building,
Right.
And it's just been dragged out for so long. It's like, so I'm chomping at the bit. I'm really excited to start getting some new videos on our site. And matter of fact, next week, we plan on doing just that. And we're going to be shooting some new commercials for TV ads that we're running.
Nice.
Which that's going to be another podcast that I'm going to be doing soon. And if you would like to do that with me here in probably 4 or 5 more episodes, when I have some more numbers to really discuss, I'm going to be doing that. But it's worked out well so far. It's been pretty good. And here it is, wintertime in Nebraska, and we're actually producing. So I'm really excited to see what spring and summer will bring with that. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up and talking about people needing to be in the video. So you're right. So many are just scared to do it.
Right.
And I'm kind of to the point where I look at it and go, look, if you're scared to do it, hire someone that'll do it for you.
Right.
Even though it's not you, at least you can do a video and say, hey, I'm here with blah, 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 and let them do the talking if you feel like you can't do it. Do you think there's anything wrong with having someone that could be like your spokesman?
Well, no, I mean, companies do it all the time, right? Yeah. You have a spokesperson for the company. It doesn't really matter. They just need to be professional and give a good air about the professionalism and what you do and explain what you do. And it's better if you do it, because then, one, you don't have to hire somebody, but two, when you go out to their home or meet them at some point. I mean, I was a spokesperson on all the postcards for years, and I never hardly went into a client's house, only in emergencies.
Right.
For years and years. So they didn't even see me, but I was still the spokesperson. Just okay. And some of them knew me from years and years before that, but not even just videos, just pictures, even at best, just a picture, and smile in the picture. I don't know how many times I get pictures of guys and they're just like, when I'm like, oh my gosh, man, come on, crack a smile, at least act like you're happy to be there,
or they don't get the camera angle.
Right. And that's, and I get it. Sometimes you got to play around with it. But the biggest thing is usually give it to a female, because she probably knows how to take pictures better than you.
Yeah.
Right. And say, take a few good pictures of me. Don't just take one, take 10 and just pick out one that you like,
Yeah, it's really important. And I hope people watching this think about some of these things we're saying, and because it really makes a difference. You get a good website going, and you can call John, you can call Dom. I mean, either one of these guys are going to build you just an amazing website. Your lingo is going to be right, the wording's right, because in the rug world, you need to have a little bit of rug talk. You got to understand it a little bit. You can't just wing it like we do in carpet cleaning world. They're just not the same. Right. And some people get that, some people don't. The ones I believe that get it, and they go for the separation of the ones who do better, they seem to be more successful. And I think that's been proven through the years to be correct. John, I want to throw another question to you because this one's going to be more for the newer people, and maybe some people have been around a while that's never messed with Google. My phone rings all the time from Google. Hey, we can help you with this. We can help you with that. Now, these guys got to know how to run a Google AdWord better than any of us, right? I mean, that's their job. That's what they do every single day. So
Yeah.
wouldn't it be better if I just say, Google, here's my credit card, here's my company, run my AdWords for me and make me some money?
No, not at all.
But they're Google.
Right, right. Okay, for one, I do use those people. Here's what's funny. There's this one client that spent $10,000 last month. I won't say who it is, but on Google Ads, right? And I can't go and get a hold of them. Their rep called me when I didn't want him, and now I email him and like, oh, that was 2 months ago, so you got another rep now. I'll pass you along, and I haven't got a call back. And that was 2 days ago. No callback, $10,000 a month, and the people won't even call me back. $1 trillion company, right? So I do use the Google ad reps, but only I never blindly listen to anything they say. And I've talked to dozens of them, right? Most of them don't even really know Google ads that well. I mean, but hardly any of them, even worse, hardly really any of them really understand marketing strategy. So they can tell you how to do something in Google ads. They can tell you where to go after you're on hold with them forever and an eternity, right? They can tell you where stuff's at and maybe how to set up your analytics and stuff like that. But try to actually get them to find the right keywords for area rug cleaning. Hang that up. They're going to have you for keywords. And I've seen it. I've gone in, like I said, this isn't just speculation. I've gone in and talked to these Google ad reps. And so I was like, okay, let's go down that rabbit hole, and next thing you know, we've got keywords that he's trying to throw in there for like selling rugs. And I'm like, this is not what we do.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. And then for carpet cleaning and for all sorts of other just bizarre stuff, right? So no. And you remember the Yellow Pages days? You were in business back then, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What was their main goal and their rep that would call you to sell you the best ad and that would help you design their ad? Their goal wasn't to really help you get business. It was to help you spend more money on the freaking ad.
Oh,
Same
yeah.
thing with Google ads. That is their only, I wouldn't say their only, but that more than customer service, their real purpose is to get you to spend more money in Google ads, whether it's beneficial to your campaign and your company or not. That's their real goal. Everybody needs to understand those recommendations that they give you. They'll leave a pop-up in your system under recommendations or when they call you. I'm not joking. 90% of them are out and out stupid, like bad recommendations.
Right.
So
right.
that's my take. I'm a little bit animated about that, but that's how I feel.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, I've heard of companies that gave a blank check basically,
Right.
and they let them do some AdWords for them, and next thing you know, they got a $5,000 going out the door.
Yep.
It can happen in a blink of an eye. People don't realize how fast that money can disappear.
Right.
And not only can that money disappear quickly, it can disappear quick without one client.
Right. Yeah.
And here's something I'm going to add to everybody. This is a little bit of a side note for everyone. Even if you have the best Google ad person doing it, let's say John's running your thing and all is good and people are calling. If you don't have someone answering that phone correctly and you have competition in your area that know rugs, you're going to still come out on the losing side. You're going to lose price shoppers, which you can get a percentage of them. You're going to lose the experts who, when I say expert, I'm talking designers who know what they're calling you about, or a collector that has knowledge. Mm-hmm. If you answer that phone just like a normal carpet cleaning company and they go, yes, I've got an 8x10. Can you tell me how much it is? Oh, yeah, that'd be about $200. You're going to lose it.
Right.
But if you control the call, and ladies and gentlemen, there's only about 4 or 5 questions you have to ask. And I'm not going to go into those now because that's not for this. But you ask those questions, your chances of closing that job is shot through the roof. So now you keep closing jobs. Now what you're paying, and we'll go into this here, John. Don't get caught into, well, my cost per click is only $7.99.
Right.
That doesn't mean anything, folks. If you may have a cost per click that might be fairly low, but that doesn't mean it cost you that much to get that job. That job probably cost you, I would say, anywhere from, on the low side, $55, on the high side, $120.
That's pretty accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere. I mean, it's a wide range, but that's what it costs, folks, because you can get, a whole bunch of people clicking on there. That doesn't mean you're landing any of them.
Right.
You got to close the deal. So I just want to remind people, hey, understand that for one, but answer the phone the right way. If you don't know how to do it, call me. I coach people all the time on how to do this the right way. It's not that difficult, but you need to understand it. You need to understand some of the lingo. Get you some educational classes out there that teach you some of this stuff, like Lynn Tall's Rug ID or our Hands-On, because those things really make a difference when you're answering the phone. And it's important, isn't it, John?
Absolutely. I mean, and you have to answer the phone live. If you're doing
Yes.
anything on Google, SEO, Google Maps, whatever, and you let it go to voicemail, I've got some clients that actually have a thing where they fill it out on their website and then it says they'll get a call back in 30 seconds, and they really do that. They have some success, but it really is even better if you just answer the phone live every time somebody calls.
I agree with that. I do not like the phone answering things where they fill this out and we'll do this or we'll do that. I don't like it. I like it to be answered right then and there. And I have a rule, and I tell my daughter this, and she gets so busy she doesn't do it sometimes. But I always tell her, look, you missed that call because you were doing something. You run to that phone, you miss it, count to 10, hit send, call it back.
Right.
And just say, hey, this is Megan. I'm so sorry I missed your call. Brooke Shop. What can I do to help you?
Right.
I have landed so many jobs off that from people who did not leave voicemails. They're
Right.
getting ready to call the next guy that they can try and find, but I got that job because I called them back.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with it. Some people are scared to do that, John. I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah. I mean, and if you really need the work, you got to do it. Even, if you're just building your business, even if you got a solid business, really, you should do it.
Yeah,
Call
absolutely.
Why not?
Absolutely.
Why not?
So I think we've covered quite a bit for this podcast here, but before we go, is there anything in your mind that you would like to mention or that you didn't get a chance to talk about that you want to talk about before we go?
Sure. I mean, really for Google Ads, SEO, anything website related, the biggest thing I recommend is test it. Test it small, test your offer, test your landing page. The beautiful thing about Google Ads is that you're going to get traffic for sure because you're spending money on that advertising. And so the great thing is you can test out your landing page. But the best Google ad campaign in the world sent to a cruddy landing page that doesn't talk them into cleaning at all, and you don't answer live or you don't respond back to the message. Most people are going to call, by the way. You need to test it small, couple $100. You don't have to do a Google ad test with $5,000. You can test it with a couple hundred, 200 or 300, right? Do it from there, test it small. Once it's working, build it up from there. That's what you do.
Absolutely. Hey, everyone, I really appreciate you being here with the Hitman, John Braun. John, thanks so much for being here. I always enjoy speaking with you. And guys, this is the Rug Rescue Podcast. Please hit that like button, subscribe, tell your friends about us, join the Rug Room Live if you're not in there. You can go to Rug Wash Pros. You can check out all the podcasts, or you can go to Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Please check it out. Come visit us every now and then and say hi. And until next time, keep it clean.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, John.
Thanks.